Hey, what's up everyone? Forever Ladies Studios here, back again with another video. And guys, today is finally the first episode of the new Q&A series. If you guys remember, a week or two ago I published that video on kind of a quick update on Hoth, but as well as an update on a new Q&A series that I was thinking about doing, and I wanted you guys' opinions and feedback on it. And a lot of you agreed that you wanted to see a Q&A series on this channel, which I'm completely fine with. I've been wanting to start one out for a while, kind of give it a more I guess another series along the channel other than, of course, the mock series. And you guys really seemed like you enjoyed the idea of one, as well as quite a few comments and questions. I do want to point out today's first episode is probably going to be a little short. I've only got a few questions to answer, but hopefully this video will showcase you guys to ask more questions for me to answer. So I'm really excited to show you guys the first episode of this new Q&A series. Okay, so the first question comes from Mix the Bricks. He asks, which is your favorite Star Wars spaceship? So, I have quite a few Star Wars ships that I really enjoy. So this is not counting like walkers, land vehicles, anything like that. This is the normal ships. My top three favorite ships, I would have to say, is one is probably the gunship from the Clone Wars or the prequel era. I just really love that ship because of the fact that I think it's got a unique design. I love the color scheme, the white, dark red, and lime green. I think it has a wonderful scheme, as well as I always thought it was such a cool ship when I was younger, and a friend of mine actually had the gunship, and I love playing around with it. So 3 would probably be the gunship. Number 2, it probably has to be the Millennium Falcon. Now, of course, the Falcon's like one of the more iconic ships and all, and that's almost everyone's favorite. I just always enjoyed the Falcon. I thought it's such a cool vehicle in my opinion because of the fact that other than it having like the main crew, Han, Luke, Chewbacca, Leia, etc., and all that. I think it's just got a unique design, and I love the Falcon. I have one of the play sets. I really am going to try and get the UCS Falcon this year. That's at least my goal for it. I just think it is a wonderful ship, and as you guys know, it's such an iconic ship. But for number 1, this might surprise a few of you. It is another original trilogy ship. But my favorite ship of all time is probably the X-Wing. As you guys know, it is an iconic ship. It is one of the lead ships in the Rebellion. I just really love the design of the X-Wing. I always thought it was such a cool ship. I love playing in it, or I guess flying it in like Battlefront and other Star Wars games. I have a few X-Wing sets in hand, as well as Inther's fantastic X-Wing design. I think it's a wonderful ship. I love the look of it. I think it's just such a cool design because of the fact that there's a lot of different designs to the X-Wing with color schemes and all. Some have like different stripes, others have like different types of designs on the ship. I just think it's a wonderful ship. I love the X-Wing, and I guess if I were in the Star Wars universe, I would want to fly an X-Wing in, I guess, space. So that's pretty much it for his comment. Let's move on to the next one. So next question comes from Brick Dude Studios. He asks, question, what are you planning on building next? Okay, so I do want to point out that I will not be releasing the next mock in this video. I do apologize that I can't answer it because of the fact that I really want to get the most I can with Hoth, and I've talked to Jay about this, and that we kind of agree that I really want to get Hoth taken care of, get everything taken care of with it, and get everything I can from it before I mention the next mock. Because if I mention the next mock, most of you, I guarantee you guys are really going to like it because of the fact that I've already talked to a few friends as well as Jay and Matt, and they seem really excited for it. But if I state what the next mock is before I finish Hoth, it might turn to the point where people are going to say, oh, Hoth is great, can't wait, so excited to see the next mock, and kind of get hyped for it before Hoth is done. So I can't really state what the next mock is, but I'll kind of give you a couple hints, I guess. I can state for the fact that, and I've actually stated this before, the next mock is going to be 4x4 gray base plates, basically the size Hoth is right now, minus the extra layer from the battlefield and all. So basically 2 tables big for the MOC, which is still insane. It's still going to be a large MOC, and honestly, I think it's the perfect size because it's a square diameter. So I believe that's a perfect size for this MOC. And I will give one final hint that the next MOC is going to be between Revenge of the Sith and between a Phantom Menace. I want to give a kind of larger scheme before and after. So it's between Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. So it's kind of in the prequel age. I'm actually really excited to get started on this next MOC. I'm quite excited to get Hoth finished and then get everything planned out. And if you guys have noticed a thing coming back on the channel, I guess you could say, there's a few things I've already started collecting to get me started, I guess, on to the next MOC. So thank you for your awesome question. Hopefully you're not too disappointed that I didn't name out the MOC. It's just precise reasons. So let's get on to the next question. Okay, so the next question comes from Tarful Studios. I do want to point out that is a great name. He asked, I may not be able to watch next week's episode because I'm leaving Hoth, Minnesota to go south, but I bet the progress and vid will be great. His question is, what is your 2 favorite sets, 1 nostalgia, and 1 design/content? Now, the first part he did kind of specify in another comment. He mentioned that he's moving, he's going on vacation. So I hope your vacation went really well. I would love to hear how it went. But for your question, what is your 2 favorite sets, 1 nostalgia and 1 design? Nostalgia might surprise a few people. The reason why I actually really love this set is because of the fact that it was my, being completely serious, this was my first Star Wars set in general. Now my older brother Matt, he had tons of Legos. He also had a bunch of older Star Wars sets. So it wasn't the first Star Wars set I played with, but it was the first Star Wars set I actually received as my own. So it wasn't like something given, I guess, passed down to me. It was like an actual gift, I believe. So for nostalgia, it'd have to be the second version of the Sith Infiltrator. It was the second set, I guess, because it was there was that blocky one for the first one, and then it was the second one, which just came with Darth Maul and those little droids, which basically was a black minifigure head with a little antenna on top. Now, if you're curious why that is my favorite, is because of that fact, because it was my very first Lego Star Wars set I had ever received. I just remember opening it. I believe it was a Christmas gift. I remember opening it up and getting so excited to have it in hand, and I opened it up after Christmas and just built it together, and I remember having such a fun time with the set. I always thought it was such a cool ship because of the fact that it had Darth Maul, one of the cooler Siths, I guess you could say. And I just always remember having such a great time with that set, and I just love that set. And sadly, I was younger. I do want to point out when I was younger, I did end up taking apart sets and certain things. So I did end up taking it apart, and I was not too happy. But actually, like a couple of years ago, I actually purchased the previous version of the Sith Infiltrator, the one that just came out a few years ago with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, Watto, and a few other figures. I actually found it at Toys R Us before that situation closed. I found it at Toys R Us on sale, and I realized, you know what, I've been wanting to buy it for nostalgic reasons, and I ended up buying it. And well, now I own it. I still have it on the shelf, and I still love the set. So that'd have to be my nostalgic set, I guess you could say. Now, favorite set on design or content, I guess you could say. I always mention that the Slave one is, or the UCS Slave one specifically, is my favorite set in general. And I'd have to say that for the design of it. It just looks phenomenal, in my opinion. It's one of my favorite sets. It just looks like a great design. Slave 1 is such a cool ship as well. And the overall design just works. I think it looks like a great set. If you're curious why I keep looking that way, it's because of the fact that my Slave 1's on the stand right there. So I'd have to say that for design and content of it, because of the fact that it does come with some really cool figures, including an exclusive Boba Fett that's still exclusive to this day. So that'd have to be my favorites, I guess, design ship, and then of course the second release of the Sith Infiltrator. So thank you for that question. Let's get on to the final one. So guys, for the final question of today, we have one from Coconut Brick Studios. He asks, this is a huge Hoth MOC. I don't know if you get asked this a lot, but how long have you been building with Lego? So thank you for your comment, as well as thank you for mentioning how big Hoth is. It is quite large. But I've actually been building for quite a long time. I think it was back in 2006 when I started collecting more Legos and kind of building small things. And I do want to point out that when I was younger, I didn't really color code things like I do today or the past few years. I was kind of just built stuff like as a kid. But once, when I guess you could say I officially started getting into like color coding and actually making things look more detailed and much nicer, I'd have to say back in 2015. I know that wasn't that long ago, but that was roughly around the time where I started building like nothing large, because this has to be the largest thing I've built. But certain things that actually had better detail that, actually looked pleasant to see and actually was color oriented. So it didn't have like blue and red next together in this like, I guess, sand area and all that. And it actually looked nicer. So 2015 probably have to be my, I guess, first year of actually getting into making better mocks, and that's just kind of continued onward with that clone base I did, the multiple Solace mocks I've done, as well as all those other small mocks I've done on the channel, and of course Hoth, and of course the next mock to come. So 2015 would have to be my answer, and I think that's pretty much it for the comments. I hope you all enjoyed today's first episode of it. I actually really enjoyed reading through you guys' comments. That's why that's at least what I try to do on the channel, is since I'm not a large channel, which I'm happy with how the channel is growing. But basically I enjoy going through the comments, reading you guys, and actually responding to you. It's enjoyable for me, as well as I love reading and answering you guys' questions, and I just had a fun time going through the questions today, and I look forward for next week's episode. This is going to be a weekly episode, not segment. Kind of like how Hoth is. I'm going to have the Hoths go like at the end of the week, kind of like it is already, and then the Q&A series is going to be basically midweek. I also have a few other video ideas that are be coming along pretty soon. But let me know in the comments what you think of today's first episode of the Q&A series. I'm also trying to figure out a, I guess, name specified for the channel, so because I don't really want to call it Q&A series. I want to give it like its own name, I guess, for my channel. The only one I've come up with is Forever Answering Your Questions. That is the best one I've come up with so far, but I know it's kind of cheesy. So if you have any ideas or any ideas for the name of it, let me know in the comments section, as well as if you have any questions you'd like answered in next week's episode, definitely comment them down below. I want to read them, and I look forward to answering them in next week's episode. If you enjoyed, definitely smash that like button, as well as if you're new to this channel, definitely subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.